How's it going, guys? My name is Josiah Thomas. I'm here with Nate Burdine, and you are listening to The COLLAB.
Come on.
We are youth pastors in Tacoma, Washington at a church called Life Center. We love what we do. Today, you were at a middle school. I was at a high school.
Kicking it.
With the people. I heard some people were crying.
Yeah, just crying in the halls.
Some kids were making people cry.
This is
on?
the issue. You know, homegirl, her boyfriend cheated on her. It was bad. So why are you laughing?
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either. And one of the kids was like, "Hey, you okay?" And they just got up and walked away. And I was like, "What's happened?" They're like, "Oh yeah, she got cheated on." I was like, "That is terrible." So yeah, we had to care for her soul.
Yep. Hey, that's why we do what we do.
That's why we do what we do.
We are in the community.
Exactly.
Let's go. Today we are talking about the Heart of Collaboration Part 2. It is Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. We get to celebrate this not just only as a church, but as a community. Love what people are posting. Love people just continuing the conversation past February. But today specifically, want to talk about the heart of collaboration when it comes to collaborating across racial barriers. What comes to mind when it comes to Black History Month and collaboration?
That's good. I think I always think back to when COVID started, just after that, after George Floyd was murdered and people heard that Ahmaud Arbery was murdered as well. A lot of people reached out to me and were like, "Hey, I want to hear your stories." I'm like, "Of being Black? Like what do you want to hear?" They're like, "Oh, I just want to hear your pain." And I think I've told the story before, but they never followed through. And so there's multiple people that said they wanted to hear my story, hear my pain, hear where I was at. And then they disappeared. They ghosted because it wasn't cute anymore. Everyone was posting, even I posted it, a Black photo. A couple weeks later, wasn't cute anymore. Most people deleted it. You know what I mean? A lot of people put Black Lives Matter as their profile picture.
Yep.
Where are they at now? And so I think so often we see that as collaboration, and this word comes up, like performance activism. I think a lot of us are actually more performance activists.
Unpack that a little bit.
Okay. So it's basically a performance activist. You're just posting to look good. And so I'm posting things just to look good, just to look popular, just to look cool. But do I actually care about the cause?
At the rallies, having the posters.
Exactly. Yeah. Posting the pictures. And that's cool. Like, thank you for going to the rally. That helps a lot. But what about when your Black brother or sister's in pain because of what's going on in this nation? Are you gonna care? Are you gonna be there for them in that? Because I can care about things publicly all day. I can be outraged on Facebook all day, but do I actually care about the person that's sitting across from me? And so when it comes to Black History Month, how can we collaborate? I think we have to continue to learn, and learn not to go, okay, I'm white, or I'm not a person, I'm a Black person, I'm not an Asian person. I'm just trying to learn so I can look better.
Yep.
I'm actually just trying to learn so I can be.
Dang.
So I can know stories. And I think we've shared this on the podcast before, but it's like we don't listen to people's stories enough. I just finished reading this book called Terraform or Propaganda. And the first
you read so many books.
I'm out here.
What the heck? I'm like trying to read one book right now.
Love it.
Just got another book on my to-do list.
But Terraform is really about making a better world for humanity.
Wow.
And obviously he loves Jesus. He's a Christian rapper. But he talks about this. He says, tell better stories. Do you actually tell better stories, and do you listen to stories of the people that were around? And the funny thing is I think so often we think about Black history as someone else's history. That's a long time ago. Yep. I saw a picture, the last picture of Harriet Tubman. You know when that was taken? 1911. 1911. That's not that long ago.
Yeah.
So I think we always think of, oh, that's just back then. That's just old stuff. No, that's our history. That's us. And so are we willing to learn? And the last thing I'll say is I think I've had a lot of friends that they just get angry. I mean, I'm angry. And so now they're spouting off and they're just trying to fight every system, defeat everything. You know, I'm fighting. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But do you care enough to actually advocate for the voice, not just yell for the voice? Because we can yell all day, but we know that people are actually going to probably listen more if we're actually willing to calm, sit, and communicate.
Yeah, I think like when you said advocate, that's just like that's near and dear to my heart. You know, like when I think of collaboration, it does look like advocating for people of color, like Black and brown people, and kind of like within, like, advocating isn't like the performance stuff. It isn't just for a certain season. Like when like you commit to advocating, like we have to commit to a long-term like relationship with advocating. Like that's the gospel.
Yep.
Like that's what we're called to do, is to be reconcilers of Christ. And that's like within relationships, we have to reconcile people because there is systemic injustice within this country when it comes towards Black people. And so we can't just say, oh, I'm going to advocate for a season when it feels good and everyone else is advocating. But I have to know like the depth of the racism in this country and the depth of the hurt and pain. Because if you can catch a hold of the depth, then you understand, no, this is a lifelong journey.
Yep.
It's like once you get a taste, once you're in it, it's like, oh dang, this is way bigger than I thought. And it's way bigger than a couple trainings. It's way bigger than a couple books you read. It has to be life. And I think that's what for myself, like over like my journey within racial reconciliation and like we can go into that another episode. I'm gonna start crying. But my own journey and just like my eyes being open to the world we live in America, right? And we can talk about white supremacy, we can talk about injustice, systemic issues that our country is rooted in. And you can't, once you see the facts, once you read up on that and you have relationship with people, you can't deny it. And I think that's what I love about like Black History Month and just collaboration, because it's not just advocating, but it's relationship. There has to be true, authentic relationship past like, are people only calling you when you're in pain? Or when another Black kid gets shot in the street? Is that the only time you hear from certain people?
Yes.
And if, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like that's performance activism to some extent. And so we have to kind of educate ourselves and really challenge ourselves to be around people that don't look like us, be around Black and brown people in society and say like, no, you like do life. You are my friends. Like, who's on your social media? Who's on your, like, what groups are you a part of? Like, because if you're not a part of like the Black and brown community, but yet you want to be an activist or advocate, I would say like, I don't really see it.
And here's the thing about that. You got to feel it too, though. I think so often people want to hear people's stories, but they don't want to feel it. I told you I was going to be real. Like, they don't want to feel the pain. A lot of people can say, Nate, just get over that thing. I'm like, yeah, but Chef, have you ever had someone say they're not bringing someone because you are Black?
Yeah.
And they're not going to bring their child? That hasn't happened in this place. But I'm just saying, like, have you ever had that happen to you? All right, well, then you gotta feel it.
Yeah.
And I think so often people want to sit and just hear stories, but they don't want to feel it. It's funny, we talk about racism and we say racism isn't the issue, it's a sin issue. But we don't say that when people are doing crazier things out there. You know what I'm saying? We don't say that. We don't say, oh, pride isn't the issue, it's a sin issue. No, we say pride's a sin.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, lust isn't the issue. No, we say lust is a sin. But when it comes to racism, now it's this different type of sin. And if we look in scripture, the way people were mistreated, it's sin. It's terrible. And so I think we got to feel it. And we can go biblical all day, but what did Jesus do? He felt it. He literally felt the pain of the world. Like Barabbas, now this isn't a race thing, but Barabbas is ready to die.
Yep.
He's ready to die. And Jesus is like, they're like, free Barabbas. And he's like, wait, me? Yeah, free Barabbas. And I just always think of this exchange of what would it have felt like for Barabbas to be freed from prison. That's us. That's us. Jesus had to feel the pain that Barabbas was going to feel. And it just changes the game for me. And so I think so often people people just want to say, oh, like I get it. No, you don't. You don't get it. You ain't never been in my shoes. I never been in your shoes. And people want to say they empathize without actually empathizing. There's this cartoon, it's on YouTube, and it shows this person that fell in a hole. And then the guy looks over the hole and he goes, dang, that sucks. And then walks away. Want a sandwich or something? But that's what we do
Yeah.
to people who are
Wow.
in pain,
Yeah.
people of color. It's Black History Month,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still seeing people who get shot in homes. Like, I'm not saying it can't happen during February, but I'm
Yeah.
like, dang,
Yeah.
it can't go. Dang, that sucks.
Yeah.
No, it actually, like, it hurts. And what it says is you actually have to get down in the hole with them.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need?
Yep.
I'm gonna feel how you feel. I don't know how you feel, but I'm gonna try to feel how you feel. And hopefully that makes sense. I just like,
No, that's good.
I think so often people want to say I'm with the community. I'm with the. No, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Check on me when it seems like I'm doing good.
Yeah.
You know. And that's the thing is when it comes to Black people in the United States of America, so often they're forced to show their pain, but no one showed us their celebration.
Mm.
So I have to shoulder my own pain. Oh, that's your thing. Oh, God, no, he don't care about that. But when I'm like, oh man, people are winning. Oh, that we don't care about that either. So it's like, where can I actually speak up and celebrate who I am and who I was created to be?
I love when you said like people actually have to feel it, because like I know there's certain like their whole collection on Netflix, like Black Story Collection or Black Movie Collection, whatever. But it's like a lot of those movies, like some, like my wife and I was like, we had to like stop, like so the show is When They See Us, talking about the exonerated 5, right, in Central Park in '89, and first episode we had to like stop it because it's like this is too much. Like 7th graders being thrown in jail and accused of rape, and a lot of other stuff that like they're exonerated was false, no evidence. But we watched the live. So Oprah did a live interview with the actual people and the actors that portrayed them, young and old. And so we watched that like little 90-minute clip, and we're like, no, we need to, because the people were saying, you need to hear our story.
Yep.
You need to see what we went through. And we were like, okay. And so we just finished it, and it's like, you have to feel that. Because if you don't feel it, then it's like you're bypassing it. You're pushing to the side and saying, no, those stories don't matter.
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel uncomfortable. And I think within Black History Month and just collaborating with people of color, like you have to be uncomfortable. It's okay not to know what to say. It's like you will learn what to say over time, but you have to be okay to be like,
yeah. And When They See Us is such a good example, because I remember watching it, and I'll be honest, I still can't finish it. I just can't. Because I know what it's like to be a little kid and you got a teacher yelling at you because they think you stole something, and you're like, I didn't steal. And I know these are two completely different, but like I'm like, I just can't do it. But the question I'm asking now, and I think the question a lot of Black people are asking now, is when will people see us? When will people see us? Because the crazy thing is it's so often people are like, get over it. Jim Crow wasn't that long ago. Oh, get over it. Get over what? My parents lived the effects of the Jim Crow era. You know what I'm saying? Our families are going through it because of, quote unquote, the war on drugs, all these kinds of things. And so I think the question a lot of Black people are asking, especially even in 2022, is when will people see us? Black and brown brothers and sisters.
Yep.
When will they see us? When will my story be seen? So, yeah.
No, that's good. I think everything matters. Like everything in your life matters. Like Black lives matter. Like we have to understand that it's not just like, oh, a certain part of your story matters.
Yeah.
And we want to highlight the testimony and, death to life. We want to highlight that. No, but it's like, no, the depth of your whole life truly matters. And that's why I think we miss it. It's like, we just think, oh, we want to highlight certain people in history or certain people of color and say, oh yeah, this part matters, but the rest of that doesn't matter. Whether it is the highs where you're celebrating a victory, or highlighting a pain, but it's like it's holistic people that we have to care for and understand them as a whole, because you're not just your pain, like you're not just your struggle, and you're not just your victories and successes. There's a whole context and like human you are, and that we have to value all of Nate, not just when Nate makes us feel good. We value you. And so I think we have to get to that place where it's like, when someone is upset, we have to still treat them and care for them in the pain of them being upset, not just saying, oh, angry black person, like I don't care about you anymore. Like and it's just like, there's so many stereotypes, like black people and people of color we have to fight every single day to break through. But I think you hit it on the head. Like we have to care for all of us all the time, not just something specifically.
That's good. And can people of color show up and be themselves? Obviously there's years of pain that are attached to this, but for me, when I first started working in ministry, I couldn't be me. Hi guys, my name's Nathaniel Burdine. Nice to meet you guys. I'm the youth intern here. We were like, who is this guy? But you know who loved it?
Yep.
They were like, oh, he's cool. Then things changed a little bit when a little more twang in my words.
Yep.
The way I spoke differently, the way I talked about Jesus different. When I learned that Jesus, one, was brown, and then when I learned that Jesus was homeless, and then when I learned that Jesus lost his father at a young age, and then when I learned that he actually knows what the feeling is like he says his father, why do you forsake me?
Yeah.
So he knows what it has like a father leave him and a father like, hold on a second. That changes the game for me. And that's not because I'm black. That's because that's my story. And so it really puts it in shape that I feel like can I show up and fully be myself? Because like if I'm talking to you, I'm gonna fully be myself.
Yep.
If I'm talking to Julia, like there's probably conversations I have with Julia that no one else is going to hear me have, because I get to be me around Julia. I get to say, I get to wear my little do-rag around Julia, but sometimes can't wear my do-rag in public. People are like, well, what is he doing? It's just an article of thing for my hair. You know what I mean? So I just think it's constantly helping, using, trying to get to the idea of collaboration, using the privilege that you may have, the voice that you may have to speak up for those who are hurting.
Yep.
That's our job in collaboration.
Yep.
So it's Black History Month. As a white person, or as with a person with power, speak up for those. They're waiting. They're waiting for you to speak up. If you are a minister of the gospel and you lead a youth ministry with tens and tens and tens, hundreds of kids, it's Black History Month. Speak up for your black students.
Yep. Come on.
They're waiting for you to say it.
Yeah.
If you're a young person out of school, speak up for your homies. Speak up for your friend. They are waiting. And so, yeah, I just think we have to be able to have students, people, brown friends, show up and fully be themselves.
Yeah.
Can Josiah show up to work? Can Josiah show up to a game? Can Josiah show up to a hooping with the homies and fully be himself?
Yeah, that's good. I think it reminds me of our friend Christian Page said, like, when it comes to what you're saying, what comes out of your mouth, like, who are you serving by what you say, and who are you not serving by what you say? And I think like with collaborations, like if you have power and privilege, like use it to serve people that aren't represented in the room that you're in. Yeah, use your voice to fight for people that are underrepresented on the margins of society. And if you're like, oh, who's on the margins? Then like educate yourself. Do the research to find out, okay, who's the most marginalized people group in my community right now? Like that's something you can just Google and find out. And then it's like, okay, now how do I build relationship with those people? Then now how do I speak up with people, for those people, and advocate and allow them to feel like they can be themselves?
It's great.
All of them.
So many people want to change the world.
Yep.
But there's people marginalized in your backyard. Man, I'm gonna go change the world with the gospel. You know who needs the gospel? The people in your city.
Yeah, come on.
They need you. The most marginalized people in your city need you.
Yep.
I was reading Terraform. I keep bringing it up. I was reading another book. No, I'm playing. I was reading Terraform, and he was talking about going to a reservation. There's stories there we don't even know. I'm reading these stories. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, this was their land. We took it over. I said we, because I am a part of the United States of America. Yeah. We took it over, and then forced them to have lands in places that you're not going to reap benefits from. That's dirty. That's dirty.
Yeah.
But if we don't actually listen to people's stories and we don't actually go to the most marginalized people group, the most marginalized people group in a lot of places might be the friends in the reservations.
Yep.
Man, going to those schools, you're like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. They're fighting for themselves out there. And how can we partner? Not partner. How can we advocate for those groups?
No, that's good. I think, there's so many stories we don't know. And do we create a space and settings within like our natural rhythms and communities we're in where people can share their stories, or people can share how they feel? Like, I know I went to Puyallup Fairgrounds to go to a gymnastics meet. Shout out Jocelyn, got first on vault, crushed it. Oh. Level 10 gymnast. She's a freshman.
What is that? Was level 10 like?
Yeah, it's a top. So she's like, as a freshman, she's the top level that you can be within before you go to like college and the Olympics. So she's already at the top.
So she's going Olympics.
Yeah, I want her to. Like, I know it's like selfish as her pastor. I'm like, come on, go to the Olympics. She's like, nah, I don't want to. She wants to get a full ride for scholarship. And go to Florida and compete for them, which I'm like, go for it. But you never know.
But hey,
Olympics could be on the rise.
Double, triple backflip into, I don't know how it works, but
she's so good, and it was fun watching her and kind of going back into like my roots and gymnastics and stuff. But being on the Puyallup Fairgrounds is always hard for me.
Yeah,
because those fairgrounds are where my people, the Japanese, were in internment camps. And so a place that's supposed to be fun and filled with joy and it's packed every spring and fall and people have the best food and they have joy at it. But every time I step onto it, I feel pain. And so how do I communicate that in a setting full of white people or setting full of colored people or people of color into a way that I'm not going to be like, but the food, but the extreme scream, like it's like,
yeah.
What am I saying?
Josiah, it's fun. Me? What are you talking about?
And we get that all the time, and so I think creating an environment for people, like if you're in high school listening to this, how can you sit around a table and create an environment and a setting where your friends can communicate their thoughts and you not push them down for having the thoughts? So if they say, hey, man, what you said was racist, are you able to listen to that and be like, oh, I'm sorry. How can I do better? Like, that's not my heart. Tell me how that was racist. How can I educate myself? Instead of being like, no, that's not racist. Are you kidding me? Like, kids pop off on each other all the time.
I can't be racist, bro.
Kids pop off on each other all the time. Yeah. It's like, how do we get there?
Yeah.
Like, that's all I want to know. It's like, I mean, we have our ways, but like, how do you think we get to that place where people can come as themselves and communicate their real thoughts and feelings and not feel pushed down?
Yeah. I mean, we've learned it, right? The dangerous place, and this is from my boy CP as well, Christian Page, a dangerous place to be is to not know, but think you do know. Right? And he has an example. I'm not going to steal the example, but it's just to act like you know and you don't know, okay? The example I'll use is I don't know a thing about cars. I couldn't tell you, if you open the engine, I'd say it needs oil. Like, that's all I know. I know how to replace oil, maybe. And the car might.
I don't even.
Bro, I couldn't even help you. I don't even know how a rug works.
I don't even want to open the lid.
Exactly.
It's not called the lid.
And the lid spin out. Anyway, so like the only thing I know how to do with my car is gas. And that seems like, bro, I know what I'm doing with my car. So the reason I share that story is if someone comes to me and is like, hey, what do you think is wrong with my car? I don't know anything. And I open the car and I'm like, yeah, I think it's your carburetor. Like, oh, I gotta go get my carburetor fixed. Like, yeah, you do. And then they go to the shop and he's like, man, my friend told me my carburetor needs to get fixed. And they're like, dog, what? You need an oil change. He's gonna be upset with me.
Yep.
And that's what we do all the time. We are acting like we know what we're talking about when we don't. And I think a lot of the words, phrases that come up are these, right? Well, I'm not racist. Well, I could never. Well, I know a black person. I know a person of color. I know a woman. Like, I couldn't be that way. I have a wife. What are you talking about? I couldn't say that. No, you could. But we have to be able to learn and willing to learn and willing to be corrected.
Yeah.
Are we willing to be called out? Are we willing to be like, hey, you can't say that? The number one that I always share about this is when it comes to being correct and being open to conversation it was the 2020 Women's World. Is that when the Women's World Cup was? 2020?
Can we get a fact check on 2020 World Cup?
Yeah, I think it was 2018, 2019. I don't know.
We'll
the
see.
Women's World Cup of Soccer, USA. We got our producer, looking up. But USA, they're playing, and
We got it?
we got it?
I'm pulling it up.
Okay. Man. Anyway, it was happening. I was at camp. I was doing work crew boss. There's some stories in there too. But anyway, being a work crew boss and they're watching the World Cup is great. And do you have it?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
The Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi. LC. No, I'm playing. So
LC
World
Wi-Fi.
Cup, Megan Rapinoe. She's filthy. Have you seen her play soccer?
Yes.
She's insane. Oh my goodness. Like, how does someone do that with their feet? Like, it is wild. And she scored like 3 goals that game. And the USA won the World Cup. It was awesome. And it's amazing. And I walked in and I said, she's so cocky.
Where'd you say this at?
It was at camp.
Oh, at camp.
We were watching, they were watching it.
I feel like you told me this story
Yeah.
before.
I said, she's so cocky. A woman there, CJ, love her. She goes, why'd you say that? Would you say that about LeBron? Called me out. There's kids in there. I was like, oh. All right. So she corrected me, called me out, and that changed how I thought about it. I didn't get offended. I didn't get hurt. I didn't cry about it. I didn't say, how dare you do that? That's what I said. You're right. I'm so sorry. That changed my life about Megan Rapinoe. It changed about women's soccer, about women's sports, about how I think about women. And if a woman's being confident, that's not cocky. She's being confident.
Yeah.
Because when LeBron's out there beating his chest and banging on the thing, I'm like, wow, he's so confident. But if Megan Rapinoe does it, I say she's cocky. Am I willing to be called out?
2019.
2019.
Yeah, bro,
Oh
that's
my
ages
gosh.
ago.
Wow.
Is that 3 years ago?
Yeah. Next one's in 2023.
Oh,
Let's go.
Megan Rapinoe. But
USA back to back.
USA back to back. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, all that to be said, it changed when someone corrected me. And are we willing to be corrected? Are we willing to be called out? Hey, Josiah, you can't say that, bro. Like, and we have other stories of things I've said even when we're playing video games. And it's like, Nate, hey yo. I'm like, dang, I really did say that. But it's okay to be called out. I'm not hurt. It doesn't hurt my pride. Because you're not questioning my character. You're just correcting, hey, that's not
That's
not
good.
right. And I think go ahead.
Yeah, how do we push our character
Exactly.
aside and just say like, no, you're not like the way you challenge, correct, or whatever. That's not just on me as a person. That's just like you're trying to make me aware. You're trying to educate myself in something I don't know, but I think I know. And so it's like you don't need to. Yeah, to me it's easy, and I think we have to get into a rhythm of how easy it is to say I'm sorry, and how easy it is to say tell me more.
But if we really press in on that, it's something that our society doesn't want to do, our world doesn't want to do, and really, like, if we think about it, men don't want to do. Why can't we say sorry to each other? Why can't we apologize? Bro, my bad. I messed up. We can't do that. And it's crazy because believers, we're meant to model this. We're meant to show this example, and we don't even do it. Well, God put that on my heart. Okay, but you hurt someone. And I think sometimes it's like, well, I don't care about the feelings. I need to get the truth across. That's a really scary place to be. At least in my opinion, that's a really scary place to be. When we don't care about people's feelings and we just start hurting everyone. So
No, that's good.
yeah, I just think we have to know. We have to be okay with not knowing and being okay with being corrected.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it used to bother me. Like when Julia would correct me, when anyone would correct me, I'd be like, how dare you?
Yep.
I'm like, bro, you are 23 years old. You haven't even scratched the surface of life yet.
Yeah.
You think you know everything? You don't.
Yeah, that's good. I think for me, it's like starting to lead the internship at, I don't even know how, so I've done it for 5 years. So when I was 24 years old, I'm leading this internship of like 20-year-olds or 19-year-olds. And just the pushback I got right from the start, like it checked me. I was like, what'd you say? Like, that's like inside of me. I'm like, what'd you say to me? Like, that's what I want, like what came out. And like, I had to really fight that inside of me to get to a point where it's like, it's okay for me to not know the schedule, or it's okay for me to not know how this is going to play out for your life. It's okay to not know more things instead of like pretending like I know. And when I got to a place of just saying, hey, sorry, I don't know, I can look for an answer for you, instead of feeling like I was challenged and corrected and just like my pride, I was like, no, I just need to like just be chill. Like, I think we just need to chill out with a whole bunch of things and just like listen and hear where people are trying to come from. And instead of trying to state like, oh, but this is my perspective, the impact versus intent thing that we've been going through, even as like a church, is like, yeah, like you can't tell someone their impact. No matter how good your intent is, no matter how great of a person you think you are, like I can't tell you how I've impacted you, because that's you. That's your heart, your feelings. And so I have to simply take the impact and be like, I'm sorry, and figure out, okay, how can I communicate? How can I do better? And I think a lot of times we want to push aside impact and really justify our intent. And I'm like, I don't know if that's Jesus.
Well,
I don't know if that's the way to do things.
I don't know either, but what I do know is, as Jesus people, which sounds weird to me, but like as people who follow Jesus, like we feel like we're the most well-intentioned people.
Wow.
Well, I know Jesus.
Yo.
Like,
wow, that's good.
I got good intentions. Yeah, but you also are not Jesus.
Wow.
So like you might have you still have some fallen humanity in you, right? We hear it all the time. You live in the already and the not yet. So you are in the sanctification process, but you ain't nowhere close to being finished. Because it's a process.
Come on.
Right? You're not in the clear. But I think so often it's like, well, you know what I meant good. Yeah, but you said something racist there. Or I meant to say something kind. Yeah, but it wasn't. And I think so often we fall because we're like, well, I'm a good person. I'm sure you are. There's zero people that I think, okay, maybe not zero. There's very few people that I believe wake up every day and are like, I'm just going to hurt someone's feelings. Even people who hurt people's feelings. I think there's very little people like that. When I hurt someone's feelings in the day, I don't wake up and be like, you know what? I cannot wait to speak down to someone that's younger than me today. I don't say that, but maybe I do it. And are we willing to be called out? No matter where we're at. And I've had, for me, like the only like leadership I have here is over students and then helping with interns. And there's been times they've been like, hey, yo, Nate, why did you say it like that? And I'm like, ooh, why did I say it like that? And I think people have to see, we're reading this book actually right now. It's called Lead. And what I keep getting from the book is like, do we let people see our faults? Like our faults. Because, man, I'm trying to make sure kids I don't got it all together. I'm in process. When I'm preaching a sermon, I'm probably preaching it into a mirror because it's coming right back to me. And so, yeah, I just think we're not willing to just be like, my bad, right? To share the story, like if I'm throwing a paper ball and I hit Ksenia, right? Like I can't be like, hey, I tried to make it in the trash can. Why were you in the way of the trash?
Wow.
That's not how it works.
Wow.
Right? And I've heard that from Christian, like, hey, I'm trying to throw a trash can. Ksenia gets hurt. Eyes all hurt, black eye, all that kind of stuff. And
the paper,
whoever, right?
It's a paper ball or a rock? What are we doing?
Hey, listen, I got that shot. You know what I'm saying? But if someone gets hurt in the process, I have to apologize for them being hurt in the process. I can't be like, hey, I was just trying to get my 3-point percentage up. And that's a funny story for that, but we do it all the time. I didn't mean to. I was well-intentioned. Yeah, but you did hurt someone. Just say sorry. It's like you said, it's easy.
Yeah, that's good. Collaboration, part 2. I have some thoughts on this. I love, just with what I've been learning, I'll share that. But I'd love to hear from you, how do we collaborate with the Black community, right? And not just February. We want to make sure, conversation continues, your life continues past February. Black Lives Matter, not just in February. Don't just celebrate Black people, brown people in February. Let's continue, this whole idea of celebrating all people, especially people on the margins, because they're not celebrated our entire lives. Let's just do that. But how do we, specifically if someone's like, hey, this month, Black History Month, how do I collaborate with the Black community?
I don't know, Josiah. What do you think? No, I'm playing. I think a couple things is, first off, what I'm realizing is don't one-off anything. So if you're a ministry leader, or if you're a person who's trying to learn from from a Black person, especially in Black History Month, learn a second time. Set up the next meeting, right? It's easy to have someone come speak to you one time. Are you going to do it again? I think for us, something we always have to think about is, since me and you are both male, we need to continue to have women speakers in a rotation in our youth ministry.
Yep.
And it's I'm even thinking right now, when's the next time that's going to happen? But when's the next time after that going to happen? And that's what we have to do. Don't make anything a one-off. And I think so often we make conversations with the Black community to make them one-offs. We do the conversation on race. We do the podcast during February. We do the thing during Martin Luther King, but we don't make it the next part, the next thing. And then I think the second thing is listen to stories. Listen. So often when we listen, we're already ready to reply. And I think even in a podcast setting, how awkward would it be if I told you something, you just sat there and just took it in? It wouldn't translate to a podcast well.
Yeah.
But that's actually how humans should communicate. And then I talk. I say, you told me something about your pain in your life, and I'm like, and then I ask a question. But so often Josiah tells me pain, and I'm like, yeah, but let me just relax for a second and let me just hear you. And so I think we have to do a better job at listening to stories. And then I learned this last couple of weeks. Don't do things without the community you're in. If you're going to reach a community, do it with that community. Man, I want to reach the Black neighborhood. And some people say that. Okay, who's in that neighborhood that you can partner with? Don't go in.
Yeah,
I'm going to change this city. Ooh, bro, you better chill out with all that.
Good.
No, invite them into the community.
Yeah.
They know it. Why would I try to, how they say reinvent the wheel? Why would I try to do that if they already know how to love their elderly, how to love their babies, what events you can do, how to feed these students? A story, I love stories too. A story I'll share is I remember when we were making the peanut butter jelly sandwiches to give to homeless friends down in downtown Tacoma. We didn't individually wrap any of the sandwiches. So we went out and I was like, it's food. They're home. They need food. They don't care. No one took our sandwiches. I was like, what is wrong with you guys? They said, you didn't individually wrap them. This is gross. And I realized two things. And I'm just being honest. This is what I learned. Oh, they have standards. And they know the community more than I do.
Wow.
And the first guy told me, he was like, hey, next time, individually wrap everything. Because we care about being clean too. That hit me. You know what I mean? So am I willing to embrace the actual communities that I'm a part of? Not just come in. Not even myself can go into a Black community and be like, I'm going to tell y'all how to do it because I'm Black. I don't live in that community. I live in Stellacum, Washington. Okay? I lived in Lakewood for a little bit, so I might know a little bit about Lakewood. But if I try to go to the Hilltop area, I don't know that area as well as people might think I know that area.
East side.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't hang out over there.
Yeah.
I don't know that area. but people assume I do. So even myself, I'm going to have to learn from that community because I don't live in that community. I don't hang out in that community. I don't work out in that community. I don't have kids, but like if I had kids right now, they'd be in Lakewood, Stellicum. They wouldn't be in those communities because we don't live around there. But how can we partner with them by inviting them into the conversation and actually having them lead the conversation?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's good. I know we're trying to do we do a food pantry here at the church, and we were trying to take that food pantry and go into the east side, right, in the South Shane community. And my friend Antonio connected me with someone who's in South Shane in the community, and is like, hey, you got to do it through this guy. He actually lives there and he knows how to reach the people and he'll help you out. And I was like, bet. And so I called the guy, and he's totally available to hey, whatever, this is awesome. Love what you're doing. Let's figure out how I can help you and do it together. Instead of just showing up one day randomly on the east side, pop-up tent, hey, free groceries and stuff. But it's that relation. It's for me, it's got to be the relationship
changes
thing.
the game.
Because a relationship should not be a one-off. It's got to be, okay, when I sit down with coffee or lunch with you, it's knowing, okay, when is the next time? That's relationship. It's not oop, check the box, I did it. But it's no, are you going in saying, hey, I want to actually build a friendship with this person. I actually want you to be a part of my family. And I think the communal aspect within westernized Christianity, westernized culture, America, is we're missing that. We're missing that family dynamic or just familial, communal life to say no, that's your family. And what does it mean to actually do life with someone you say is family? It's continual.
Yeah.
It's checking up. It's relationship. And your family should be all different people, all different people group, ethnicities, colors, and saying no, we are all that's the Revelation 7:9 church. That's the kingdom of God. Every tribe, every tongue. Does your family look like that? Does your community look like that? And I mean, does your social media feed look like that? Does the people you're hanging out with look like that? Are your friends do they look different than you? And I think we have to catch that. We can't just do it because it's oh yeah, I'm just Black History Month, but it's is that a reality to you? Do you think every day and wake up man, I want to diversify my friend group? When you enter a room and you sit down at dinner at a friend's house, do you realize who's around the table? And are you aware who's missing at the table?
Even at a dinner.
At a dinner,
thinking
just
about that?
hanging out. We are people of color until we go into those spaces and we're man, this is white. Man, we have no Black people. Now we know Asian people. Now we don't know Latino people. It's we go into those spaces and we feel that. But even as or white people are does the white community think that? Are you going into that space and who's not here at this table? Because it's easy to get comfortable with our friend groups and our rhythms and our tendencies and be man, life is good. Why do I need to change it? Well, because people are hurting and dying because you're not changing it and you're not thinking that way. And so I think we definitely have to live a life that's diversifying everything we're intaking and diversifying everything around us.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's an African word or saying, but the idea of I am because we are, right?
Yep.
And actually, if you think about talk about reservation, reading this book, they're huge about Earth, Mother Earth, the Earth. We all come from the soil, and biblically, that's true. We come from the soil. He took us out of the ground, so we come out of the soil. But I love what you're saying, because so often I'm I'm Nate Bourdin, I'm me, but I only am because Josiah is a part of my community, right?
Wow,
that's the only. That's why I am who I am. I only am who I am because the people I work with, Riley, Ksenia. I am because they exist, and it's so often because we want to compartmentalize. And I'm I don't. You're not a part of my circle. You're not a part of my circle. You're not a part of my circle. But really thinking of it as a family thing. I don't think we do that enough when it comes to family. Because I see it as blood. I'm not gonna see Josiah as any other way except blood. My brothers. So I got a little white sister. Mm-hmm. I got a little white brother. I got two brothers that aren't blood adopted to me. That's blood though. Mm-hmm. I don't care what. I don't care how you look at it, how you think about it, how you slice it. That's blood. Because that's how it is. And I think we have to take people that seriously. We have to take people that seriously. No, that's blood. The only reason I exist is because of them. Because think about it. Why do we have a job? Because they're students. So even when the students are acting wild, you better respect them students because they the only reason that we're doing what we do.
Wow.
And so I just think in an individual society, we compartmentalize and go, well, I'll go in and do the thing. But like Antonio Daddy said, no, let me hook you up with someone. The only reason you're going to be able to do what you want to do is because of this person. And a lot of Black and brown communities, they have that thought because of ancestry, right? Like in my last name, Burdine, is a slave owner's last name. There's pain in that story. But I am because of the people in my ancestry. And that's painful. Yeah. And some people might be like, oh, why are you saying it that way? But I'm like, that's who I am. That's why I exist. People fought. People went through it. So am I going to help continue on that legacy and also bring some legacy for some other people, create some vision, which is something I know you care about, is vision for people. Yeah. Am I actually going to create vision for more people as they go into? And I think Black History Month, for a lot of Black friends, they're looking and saying, okay, what can I now do to further Black history? Because you know what the crazy thing is, Black history, that's our history.
Yo, talk about the video.
Oh,
the
snap.
video idea.
Dude, I was thinking of this video, okay? Everyone close your eyes. No, I'm joking. I was thinking of this video, and so everyone's in the camera, bunch of different people, skin tones, gender, and they're just looking and like, was it I am? I think they said, I am. You got like 20, 30 people saying I am. And then a Black person comes on and says, I am, or we are, sorry, we are. And then we are Black history. And the goal of it is to say like, we all are Black history. Like the reason the nation is what it is Black history. That's what it is. It's our history. It's our DNA. Civil rights, the reason why it is where it's at is because of Black history. You know why you like peanut butter so much? Black history. Like, you know why you don't die when you go through a traffic signal light? Black history.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, like, you know why when you were little you playing with super soakers? Black history. Yeah. You like Nerf guns? Black. You know, now I'm being funny with it, but I'm just saying like we are
Nerf guns.
Black history.
Yeah.
That is who we are.
Yeah, that's really good.
And so often we want to compartmentalize and be like, oh, you know, whatever, that's them. No, that's us.
Yeah, Black really history is America's history.
It's America's history.
Yeah.
And you gotta take it. You gotta put it together. Just as Asian American, you know, that is just like, that is a part of our history. You don't get to compartmentalize. If you're gonna call it, quote unquote, I know this word is a little bad, but if you're gonna call it a melting pot, you better take all the stories together. And those are our stories.
Yeah. Dang. That's it. That's it. That's the collab, Heart of Collaboration, part 2. Thank you guys so much for listening. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Follow, subscribe, comment on YouTube and Spotify. We love your guys' feedback. We love your guys' support. Share this on your IG stories. Share it to your friends. We love you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Let's go. Peace.